Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Namaste devotees and Jai Sita Ram. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our Sunday morning satsang this beautiful March 28th, 2021. And I would like to wish each and every one of you tuning in today a very happy Holi, a very happy Phagwa. Today's service will be slightly altered and slightly edited to reflect why we celebrate today, what has happened over the course of the past few days, and give us all a better understanding of what Holi is and why we celebrate it. Before we commence with that sermon, and before we commence with any sorts of discussion, I'd like for us to join together and sing this very beautiful bhajan as we welcome all of you to Mandir before we continue on with our prayers for today. स्वागत समझन इस मंदिर हो भक्ति की स्वाति की धार सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो रंजन सब नर नार ईश सगुण निर्गुण विनाशी मात पिता यार ईश सगुण निर्गुण विनाशी मात पिता यार तोर माए हम वास्त सदाई तोर माए हम वास्त सदाई तार हमें संसार स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो भक्ति स्वाति की धार सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमार रंजन सब नर नार सनातन धर्म राम राम भावे वेद प्रकाश कार सनातन धर्म राम राम भावे कंद पकंद ओतल खावे कंद पकंद ओतल खावे ज्ञान जगत उजियार स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो भक्ति की स्वाति की धार सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो रंजन सब नर नार तीर्थ भाया मुद लगावे पुण्य यहाँ परिसार तीर्थ भाया मुद लगावे पुण्य यहाँ परिसार संहति संतन नीम चलावे संहति संतन नीम चलावे शोभन सब व्यवहार स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो भक्ति की स्वाति की धार सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो रंजन सब नर नार रंजन सब नर नार रंजन सब नर नार. At this time, devotees, I'd like for you all to join together with me. Make sure you're sitting in a very relaxed and comfortable position. If you've got an iPad or a cell phone in your hands, a tablet, any electronic device, put that down. Don't worry about that right now. I promise you can get back to whatever you're doing later. Sit in a very relaxed and comfortable position. Take a deep breath in and exhale. As you exhale, straighten your spine, drop your shoulders, relax your neck, and go ahead and clasp your hands and close your eyes, while at this time focusing on a form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you, one that helps you focus. And join together with me as we commence in chanting our opening praise. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Ishamasyam Miram Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Magrudhakrasya Switmano, Om Sahanao, Sahano Murakto, Sahaviryam Karavai, Tejasvinavali Tamastu, Mawin Vishavahe, Harim Shanti, 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 Hari Om. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, I ask that you join together with me as we chant the most powerful Gayatri. Om Agakshivardeni Devi, Akshari Brahmavardani, Gayatri Jagat Madhara Shvayoni Vaspute, Om Bhuni Bhuvasva, Tatsavitur Varenyam, Bhargoni Vasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat, Om Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargoni Vasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Bhure Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargoni Vasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Prem se Bolo Gayatri Mata Ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we join together and offer obediences to that destroyer and removal of all obstacles in our life and in this universe. We offer prayers to Lord Ganesh. Om Gajananam Bhutanganadhi Sevitam Gamitajam Palacharam Akshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Ganesh. What a Pada Pankajam Om Namakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurme Deva Sarvakari Susarvana Om Raksha Raksha Gananaksha Raksha Triloya Rakshakara Bhaktanam Bhayam Kalita Tratam Bhava Bhavaranavar Om Shriman Mahaganadi Padenam Prem se Bolo Ganesh Bhagwane Ki. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to that Universal Mother and that destroyer of all evils in our life. We offer prayers to Adi Shakti Durga Mata. Om Mahadurgaye Namaha. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhandrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Natri Swaha Swatha Namostute Jai Devi Shamute Jai Putarate Niharadini Jai Saravangati Devi Kaleratri Namostute Adevi Sarvabhuteshu Vishnu Mayeti Shamnita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Pushti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Gaya Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. As we pray to Mother Durga, we say, O Durga Mata, thou art the supporter of all, and we, your children, worship you in many forms. O Ma, we see you as Buddhi, wisdom, Lakshmi, prosperity, Shakti, energy, Shraddha, faith, Shanti, Tushti, contentment, and Daya, compassion. As we pray to you, O Ma, Namastasye, 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 Namo Namah. As we pray to you, O Ma, we bow to thee again and again. Devotees, as we offer praise to Mother Durga in the form of the Universal Mother. Matri Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Matri Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Dehi Samhagyam Arogyam Dehi Me Paramam Sukham Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yeshu Dehi Dashu Dehi Om Prem Shiva Shakti Mandir. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to the most influential beings in our life. Those beings that affect our temperament, our days, our nights, and every religious function that we perform in between. We offer prayers to the 9 planets, also known as the Navgraha Devata. Om Navgraha Devataye Namaha. Brahma Murari Sripurari Bhanush Shivu Mesuto Guruscha Shukra Shanirav Ketoa Sarvengraha Shanti Karam Bhavan Sarvengraha Shanti Karam Bhavan. And as we continue our prayers to the Navgraha Devata, today being Ravivar, we offer obediences and worship that being that exists in the form of the sun, that provides life and sustains all things on this planet that we live in. We offer prayers to Surya Narayana Bhagwan. Om Suryaya Namah 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 Adideva Namasturyam Prasina Mama Bhashkaram Devakar Namasturyam Prabhakar Namasturyam Suryaya Namah Suryaya Namah Suryaya Namah Suryaya Namah. Om Prem Shiva Devata Jai Prem Shiva Surya Narayana Bhagwan Ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers and devotees, we offer obediences to that sustainer of all things dharmic and righteous, that universal form that is incarnated on this world to maintain that balance so that good prevails over evil. We offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Om Shankararam Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagan Sadrasham Megavaram Shubhangam Om Lakshmi Kantam Kamalenayanam Yukim Dhyanagam Vande Vishnu Bhavaya Haram Sarvalokekanadam Om Sashankara Chakram Sahiridha Kundhanam Sapita Vastaram Sarasirupeshanam Sahara Vakshastala Shupikosturu Shayam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam Om Prem Shiva Vishnu Bhagwan Ki Jai. And finally, devotees, I ask that we join together now as we offer prayers to that universal Father and that universal Guru, as we offer prayers to that destroyer of all evils in our life and in this universe, as we offer prayers to Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Saram Santam Hridayarado Vande Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Om Namah Satvakam idam punyam yahapati Shiva Sannidhau Shiva lokamavapnoti Shivena sahamurti Om Namaha Shivaya. Devotees, we offer this next prayer for all those suffering from various illnesses, diseases, injuries, and ailments. We ask that them have a fast, speedy, and full recovery. We also offer a prayer for those transitioning from this world to the next. May the passage be a smooth and tranquil. Shivaya Namaha. Om Prem Shiva Shakti Mandir. Devotees, before we continue on with our sermon for today, for all of us who have a guru, I ask that we join together as we offer a prayer to our guru. If not, then I ask that we take Lord Shiva or any form of Bhagwan in your mind as your universal guru as we join together in prayer. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Dhyanam Mulam Guru Varamurati Puja Mulam Guru Param Mantra Mulam Guru Bhagyam Muksha Mulam Guru Kripa Prem Se Guru Guru Dev Ki Jai. Devotees, today on the Hindu calendar marks a very special and unique occasion, one that is filled with much joy, color, and celebration, and one that Hindus across the world, no matter where we live, no matter who we are, celebrate together. And that day, to us, we either call it Pagwa, we call it Holi, or we call it Holika. And what is this unique holiday? What does it mean and why do we celebrate it? And what are the events leading up? Why do we plant Holika? Why do we burn Holika? And then why do we celebrate Holi? Why do we do all of these things? Why do we throw powder at each other? There's two reasons. And the first I'll give you as a plain and simple reason. As I said earlier when we began our puja, or when we were in the middle of our puja, we talked about the influence of the Navagraha Devata. Because of their influence, the tilting of the Earth's axis, how close we are in the northern hemisphere to the sun, and how that works with the seasons, it's a period in our calendar in which we switch over from the winter season into the spring season. It's a time where you'll see flowers blooming, leaves coming back on trees, the grass that you may have in your yard is going from brown back to green, and life, as we know it, seems to be coming back to the earth. So it's that transition from winter to spring. That's the first reason we celebrate Holi. And that's why we throw the colors. That's why we have such big celebrations. Currently, for those of you who haven't thrown powders, you may see that there is a powder flying in the air, which marks that the spring season is coming along. That powder known as pollen, that yellow powder that we see everywhere, we were outside yesterday and it was covering everything and anything it could. So you can already see that there's a nice transition from winter to spring. I can see that the trees in my backyard have flowers and leaves growing on them, that the grass in my yard and my neighbor's yard is getting green, that the weeds are starting to come back. Everything is coming back to life because we're transitioning into a new season. But there's not just a significance to Holi from the change of winter to spring. There's also a religious reason behind it, because it does mark a period, as we talked about, and we hear in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures and texts about the balance of the world being very thrown off, in which unrighteous and evil is coming to arise, and unrighteousness is coming to arise, and righteous acts are declining. And that story takes place back in Satyug. In Satyug, there was a specific sage, Kashyap, and his wife Diti, and they had two sons. These two sons, they named Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And our story will focus around Hiranyakashipu, but we need to understand a little bit more about the pre-story before we get to what it was that caused Holi and the religious events and that incarnation of Lord Vishnu in the form of Narasimha in relation to Hiranyakashipu. Now, both of these sons were very powerful. They were born with great powers. They were the incarnations of Jai and Vijay, the two gatekeepers in Ayodhya, in heaven, the ones that managed the gates of Lord Vishnu, who were given a curse that they would be born onto this world 10 times in demonic form. So in this form, it was Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. They were known to cause destruction and chaos everywhere, and they troubled humans and devas alike. The gods were fed up. They didn't like their atrocities because the amount of evil they were bringing into the world, the asuras they were bringing, the demonic qualities and natures made the world very unbalanced. So Lord Vishnu had to come up with a solution to stop the brothers. But he couldn't do it all at once. He couldn't take them both on at the same time. In this instance, he had to incarnate 2 times. So his devotees started to pray, and he heard those prayers. And in the first instance of this story, he came onto this world for the 3rd time in the form of a boar, known as Varaha, the Varaha avatar. He was in the form of a boar. Each time he comes and manifests in a physical form, that form changes. It was a fish, it was a turtle, now it's a boar. He manifested as a boar in order to take on Hiranyaksha. It was considered to be his 3rd incarnation, and at this time, and I won't go into all the details of the story, but Hiranyaksha decided to take the earth, personified as Bhudevi, and hide the earth deep into the ocean. That was his way of conquering the earth. Lord Vishnu, in his Varaha avatar, eventually found Hiranyaksha, found where the earth was, and destroyed Hiranyaksha and brought the earth back out from the ocean, back to solace and peace. It was a very great and immense battle. A very great battle. And in that sense, devotees, Hiranyaksha, that first piece of the story, was now eliminated. But keep in mind, he had a brother, Hiranyakashipu, who was now at the time very angered, very distraught, and very vengeful because his brother was killed by Bhagwan. His brother, the person who led beside him, the one who helped conquer the world, was no longer there. I think the same could be said about any one of us in which something happens to someone that we care about, whether it be your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, if you have an animal at home, that animal, or if you have something that you care about. When somebody does something to them, of course, you get angry. So he was angry at Bhagwan Vishnu. He was angry at all the Devas because they took his beloved brother away. So he decided that he wanted to get revenge. But he knew that his revenge couldn't occur in the form that he was now. So what did he do? He let go of his worldly desires. He decided to go deep into the mountains and the jungles and pray to Lord Brahma. He sat down, he removed all of his worldly desires, he removed all of his senses, and he was lost in the meditation and focus and devotion to Lord Brahma. Such was his need for something new. He gave up all of his emotions. Now remember what it says in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita about how you attain Bhagwan, about how you achieve salvation, about how you get better at life. You give up all your worldly desires, you focus on Bhagwan alone, and you will achieve them. Now, it's not to say that he went into the jungle and did this for a day or two. He was there for a long time. We're talking a couple hundred years. It's not something he sat there and did for 5 minutes and he attained some blessings from Lord Brahma. He was there for a long time. But in the meantime, while he was out of the story, out of the picture, Lord Indra and his army decided we still need to right the wrongs that are done to this world. We need to bring balance. We need to make sure that his army is no longer available on this world to cause any more chaos or destruction. So Lord Indra decided that while the Asuras and the demonic forces weren't being led by Hiranyakashipu, while he was gone, it would be the perfect opportunity to attack. So he attacked the Asuras with full force, and as expected, was able to kill and rid the world of most of them in one great war. He destroyed the whole of Hiranyakashipu's capital city in the process, and decided to march over the palace. And while he was there, he found Hiranyakashipu's wife, who he had left behind. Remember, he left behind all desires. Women, children, his kingdom, everything. He left his wife behind too, Kayadu. He left Kayadu back at home. And so what Lord Indra thought was, if I take her as a prisoner, and if I use her as a hostage, he can't retaliate. I've got something, I have leverage over him. Now I want you to keep in mind, when we read the stories of Bhagwan and all the different forms of Bhagwan, Lord Indra specifically in this case, they're not perfect. They do things that cause some issue. So in this case, he decided to take his wife, Kayadu, and hold her as a prisoner. However, there was somebody in the story who didn't think that was right. So at that moment, Narada Muni, you'll hear his name so many times in so many scriptures, especially Srimad Bhagavad Puran, arrived, and he stopped Lord Indra from doing so. He asked Lord Indra, why are you doing this to this woman? Why are you taking her as a prisoner? What benefit is this of to you? What good, what dharma are you spreading in the world? Hearing this, telling this, Narada Muni said, release this woman at this very instant. She has no role to play in this war. She's an innocent person. Don't use her for your schemes. Don't bring the innocent into your battle. Don't pull in somebody who has no purpose being in your argument. She was just an innocent woman. Indra, hearing the wise words of Narada Muni, decided to let her go. And after he released her, Narada asked if she was okay. And she told him that she was a bit shaken, but otherwise she was fine. She told him that she was also pregnant. She was carrying Hiranyakashipu's son. She had child. And she wanted to stay with Narada and serve with him like his daughter, as she had no other place to go. She had nowhere else to go. She needed some protection. So Narada, of course, accepted and brought Kayadu back to his abode to reside with him. Now while she was there, Narada would continuously tell her stories about Lord Vishnu, the glories of Lord Vishnu. He would perform yajna, he would sing kirtan, he would do puja, he would do everything he could to influence Kayadu to understand how great Lord Vishnu was. Now he wasn't forcing it down her throat, he was just telling her the stories. She chose to listen. But while she was listening, her unborn son was also in her womb, listening to these stories, understanding the graces and the great qualities of Bhagwan Vishnu, and was continuously being blessed and in an environment where positive things happen. We talk about that when we talk about kids, in which whatever environment you want your kid, however you want your kids to grow up, you have to raise them in that environment. Even when they're in the womb, sometimes some sorts of music, some sorts of instruments, some specific tones, scales will influence kind of how your child is once they come out. We talk about some of the kids at the Mandir. Oh man, their moms would come when they were pregnant. They would come and sit at Mandir. Now the kids come to Mandir every Sunday because they were used to it before they were even born. So the son was understanding more and more about Lord Vishnu. Eventually, Kayadu gave birth to a son. She gave birth to a son. But during that time, right when the son was being born, something else was happening with Hiranyakashipu. He generated such heat, such intense heat from his powerful devotion to Brahma, that the Devas couldn't reside with it anymore. So they asked Brahma to go speak to Hiranyakashipu because of his devotion. Brahma was very pleased with Hiranyakashipu's devotion. He granted him and said, I will give you any boon that you wish for, Hiranyakashipu, because of your devotion. You released everything in the world and you devoted yourself to me, so I'll give you whatever you ask for. Hiranyakashipu was a smart man. He remembered why he was there, so he looked at Lord Brahma and he said, I ask this boon of you, O Brahma. I said, I would ask that you would allow no man, no god, or animal created by Brahma to kill me. I don't want anybody or anything to be able to kill me in the day or in the nights. I don't want anyone to kill me in heaven or in earth, in the sky or on land. And my final boon, O Brahma, is that no one can kill me with a weapon, either inside or outside of my home. Lord Brahma had to give this a lot of thought, because essentially what he was providing Hiranyakashipu, even though he was able to live a long life, was immortality against anyone and anything, knowing his past atrocities. But because of his devotion, he decided to say, you know what? I will grant you this. I'll give you everything that you want. So overjoyed, Hiranyakashipu left his penance, went back to his kingdom. But by the time he got back and he saw the state of his kingdom being destroyed by Lord Indra's armies, he was saddened. That sadness turned to a fear, and that fear turned to anger for what the gods did to him while he was gone. Even though he left, somebody came into his home, destroyed all of his stuff, moved all of his things, did something with his possessions, and he was mad. He was angry over that. His worldly desires were coming back, and so he decided, I'm going to take revenge on Lord Indra for being the cause of this. So he decided to fight with the Devas, with his newfound powers, and because he could not be killed by anyone, he defeated them and banished them from Devalok. He then became the ruler of the earth and the heavens. So now we have a very demonic king, someone who was brought back to this world in due course because of anger and hatred and what happened to his kingdom and all of his material possessions. Someone who seems at this point in time to be invincible. But now, a new point in the story begins because Prahalad is born. Eventually, Hiranyakashipu found his wife, Kayadu. He found his son, Prahalad, on earth and brought them back to his kingdom. Unlike the evil Hiranyakashipu, because of the upbringing that Prahalad had, being with Narad, hearing the stories of Lord Vishnu, being there when he was born, his son was a big devotee of Lord Vishnu and prayed to him all the time. He was very different from his father. He didn't wear a ton of jewelry. He didn't carry weapons. He was a man of peace. He was a boy, I should say. He was a boy of peace. Once while taking Prahalad, Hiranyakashipu was surprised to hear him singing the praises of Lord Vishnu, which made him so mad, because his ultimate goal in life was to destroy Lord Vishnu for killing his brother. So why should he let his son love and be devoted to the one person, the one being, the one universal form that he is trying to eliminate? Furious, he decided to punish Prahalad's teacher and ask him to keep an eye on him, because he said, you know what? You're the one who watches him. Don't let him do this nonsense, this garbage. Don't let him worship Lord Vishnu. I'm his god. I'm his father. He should be worshiping me, being bowed down at my feet, doing everything that I tell him to. Of course, Prahalad was very devoted to Lord Vishnu. It's what he grew up with. If you grow up knowing peace and kindness, you can't just resolve and turn to hate so easily. If you grow up not interacting with people, if you grow up not interacting with animals, if you grow up not interacting with certain environments, events, of course you're not going to be able to just convert and go over to them easily. Somebody who's very introverted, you can't just throw them in a crowd and say, hey, you'll be fine. Go talk to people. So Prahalad was very devoted to Lord Vishnu. He wouldn't stop praying, because it's what made him feel good. It's what made him feel right. It was his karma. It was his duty. Finally, Hiranyakashipu couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't take and understand the fact that his son loved Bhagwan Vishnu so much, and not him, and worship him as a god, that he decided, my son is worthless to me. He's no good to me. We need to eliminate him from this world. And so what did Hiranyakashipu do? He decided to have Prahalad killed. However, he didn't do it on his own. He told other people they needed to do it. So he started off with his greatest warriors. He said, I want you to go, and I want you to kill Prahalad. He told his greatest warriors that. So the warriors went with their swords, fully armed, their maces, fully armed, to go kill Prahalad. And what happened, devotees? As they swung their swords and as they swung their maces at Prahalad, with his divine nature being surrendered to Bhagavan Vishnu, the swords and the maces disintegrated into dust before they could even touch him. When the warriors went to go lay a hand on him, their muscles became atrophied. They couldn't move any further. They weren't able to lay a finger on Prahalad, so he remained unharmed. Hiranyakashipu decided, fine, I'll send some poisonous snakes over to bite Prahalad, poison him and kill him with their poison. The snakes approached Prahalad, and as they went to go bite the boy, their teeth fell out. Their venom dried up. They were able to nip at Prahalad, but without teeth. So nothing occurred. No harm came to him. He said, fine, I need to go bigger. I need to go bigger. I will send my army of elephants to go trample Prahalad, pound him into the ground. So he sent all of his elephants, charging towards Prahalad. And what did the elephants do? As the elephants approached, they saw a divine light coming from Prahalad. A light of kindness, a light of good. Something which they worshipped and respected as well. Something that they saw was better than evil. And as they approached and got closer to Prahalad, their trampling turned into running, which turned into walking, which turned into a slow stop. And all the elephants bowed down and laid in front, prostrated in front of Prahalad. So Hiranyakashipu was on his last wit's end. My warriors couldn't do it. My deadly snakes couldn't do it. My army of elephants couldn't do it. What can I do to kill this boy? So he said, you know what? I have a sister. I have a sister. Her name is Holika. And Holika is immune to fire. So what will I do? I will tell Holika, hold my son in your lap. Sit in the fire and let him burn alive. Now, Holika, of course, agreed to this. She may not have liked it fully, but she agreed to it because of fear for her brother, knowing how great and powerful he was. So she took her nephew. She sat him on her lap, and they lit a pyre with the intention of burning Prahalad to death and letting Holika leave. It was a trap. Prahalad was trying to trust his aunt, but it was a trap. As those flames lit, devotees, that boon on Holika, because she cannot be burned, she was blessed by Bhagwan as well, that she was not able to burn, was reversed. Prahalad sat on his aunt's lap and started praying to Bhagwan Shri Vishnu. Om Shantakaram Bhujakashayanam Padmanabham Suresham. And as he was praying and he kept his mind very focused on Vishnu, giving everything to Lord Vishnu, that boon was reversed, and instead, now Prahalad was protected from the fire. And Holika was now prone to being burnt. She was no longer immune. And in that instance, the flames engulfed and burned Holika and left Prahalad safe, unharmed, and untouched. Hence why we burn Holika the night before. In remembrance to knowing that what true prayer can do to someone who's super devoted, and what malice and hateful intentional acts can do to someone who's trying to hurt somebody, who's just trying to do good in the world, who's just trying to understand and live. So we burn Holika that day before Holi, to represent what happens and show us all that good will always triumph over evil. But now Hiranyakashipu was he was fed up, he was angry, he didn't know what else to do. So he decided, I'm taking matters into my own hands. He dragged his son into his palace, threw him on the ground, and said, who is greater, myself or Vishnu? Prahalad looked at him and said, oh dad, Bhagwan Shri Vishnu is the greatest thing in the world. Whose feet should you worship? Mine alone or Bhagwan Vishnu's? Oh father, my life will always be dedicated to the kirtans, the praises, and the glories of Bhagwan Vishnu. I will always prostrate myself at his feet. You need to worship me, Prahalad, said Hiranyakashipu. I am the greatest in this world. I am the greatest in this universe. I am all-powerful. I am all-knowing. I am everything and anything you will ever need. You worship me now or you die. Oh, Father, from what I've learned from the scriptures, is that Bhagwan Vishnu is the greatest. Bhagwan Vishnu is unmanifest. Him, that form of Bhagwan, is the creator, sustainer, and maintainer of this entire universe. You were born, and just as you were born, O Father, you will leave this world. I cannot worship you like a god because you're not a god. My heart, my soul, everything that I have remains with Bhagwan Vishnu. Now Hiranyakashipu So angry. So angry. He said, "Where is this Lord Vishnu that you talk about? I've only seen him once. I've never seen him again. My armies conquered everything. This world belongs to me. The heavens belong to me. Where is this fool of a god of yours? He's not standing beside you. He's not standing beside me. Where is he, Prahalad?" Now, as we know from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, devotees, where is Bhagwan? Bhagwan is unmanifest. He exists in the unmanifest, but he also exists in everything around us. The ground that we walk on, the walls that are surrounding us, the clothes that we wear. Bhagwan is here, Bhagwan is there, Bhagwan is everywhere. So Hiranyakashipu, mad, walked over to a pillar. He said, "Is your precious Vishnu in this pillar? Does he exist here? Is he here? You tell me, is he here? I don't see Bhagwan Vishnu. Tell me if Bhagwan Vishnu is here." And as he says that, he hits that pillar. And as he hits that pillar, devotees, the skies darken. That pillar begins to rumble. And what happens after that? That pillar exploded. And from that pillar emerged a being who was half man from the waist down and half lion from the waist up, with multiple arms and weapons. A very fierce-looking warrior. This creature screamed, booming in a voice, "My name is Narasimha. I am the fourth avatar, the fourth incarnation of Bhagwan Vishnu. And I'm here to set right what has been done wrong to this world, to this universe, and bring balance to the world." Hiranyakashipu went to go for his weapons, but Narasimha was much quicker. He was able to pick Hiranyakashipu up, hold him firmly. Hiranyakashipu was not strong enough to beat Narasimha, to remove from his grasp. And what did Narasimha do? Narasimha walked over to the doorway, and he began to institute loopholes. "I want to be killed by neither man, nor animal, nor God." Animal, man, or God. Hiranyakashipu never said animal, man, and God. And what was Narasimha? Half man, half animal, God himself. He was everything combined. He said that, "I do not want to be killed either day or nighttime." When he hit that pillar, the sun was starting to set. Twilight was setting in. So it was neither day nor it was night. It was the in-between. He says, "I don't want to be killed on heaven, on earth, or the ground." Narasimha had him on his lap. He was neither in the heavens, he was neither on the ground. He said, "I don't want to be killed inside of the house or outside of the house." Narasimha had him at the doorway. The doorway was at halfway point. Half of your body's in, half of your body's out. So you're neither inside nor outside. You're both. Remember, he said "or" and everything. He didn't say "and." Very specific. Animal, man, or God. Earth or heaven. Inside or outside. And he says that I hope that no weapon can kill him. Even though Narasimha had so many weapons, he was half lion. His hand itself was a weapon, whether he chose for it to be or not. A paw filled with claws. So what did he do at this time, devotees? He placed Narasimha in his lap, and he took his life. He took his life and ended the reign of Hiranyakashipu with one fell swoop. It took nothing more than one swoop of his claw to end Hiranyakashipu's life. Upon removing Hiranyakashipu from the story, Narasimha roared. Some roar that's so powerful, so frightening and terrifying that all the asuras fled in fright. They left the heavens, they retracted back to their abodes, and they were no longer able to be seen. No one dared to approach Narasimha. He was too scary for everybody. Nobody except for one person. That one person's name was Prahalad. Prahalad approached Narasimha, prostrated himself in front, and said, "O Jai Sita Ram, my Bhagwan Shiva Vishnu. It is so wonderful to see you. Thank you for answering the prayers, and thank you for being here to sustain this world. My love, my heart, my devotion, everything I have and I am belongs to you." And with that, Hiranyakashipu was gone. Narasimha left, and Prahalad took the throne. Prahalad, a great man, a man of Bhagwan, a man of peace and kindness and understanding, ruled that kingdom. As a great leader, brought peace back to the world. He was even able to turn some of those asuras, those with demonic qualities, into good people and bring balance back to this world. And that, devotees, is part of the reason we celebrate Holi. and understanding that there was a time in which things were bad. A time when unrighteousness ruled, but Bhagwan Vishnu manifested on this world in a material form, half man, half lion, Bhagwan on the inside, and brought righteousness back to the world and showed that a good person, one who is filled with devotion for Vishnu, one who understands peace and kindness, can become a great ruler and will never be harmed. And that, devotees, is why we celebrate Holi, to understand that we need to be good, we need to be kind, we need to celebrate all the joys in our life, be happy, never be angry, and live a happy and healthy life. Prem se Bolo Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. Devotees, before we continue on with our final prayers for today, I want to move on over. Uncle Walter Sukdeya, thank you so much, sent on a Bhagwan Shri Krishna song as well as a holy song for all of us to listen to. So we'll take a listen to that and then we'll move on to our closing prayers.
मोहन तुम्हारी सूरत, मोहन तुम्हारी सूरत हमको सता रही है, हमको सता रही है। मोहन तुम्हारी सूरत ऐसी बड़ी है, दिल में भूल लजा रही है। ऐसी बड़ी है, दिल में भूल लजा रही है। मोहन तुम्हारी सूरत आ जाओ अब कन्हैया, तुम बिन विचार आके। आ जाओ अब कन्हैया, तुम बिन विचार आके। लड़िया बना बना के, लड़िया बना बना के आंसू बहा रही है, आंसू बहा रही है। मोहन तुम्हारी सूरत, मोहन तुम्हारी सूरत हमको सता रही है, हमको सता रही है। मोहन तुम्हारी सूरत, मोहन तुम्हारी सूरत। होली के ले रघुबीरा, अवध में होली के ले रघुबीरा। होली के ले रघुबीरा, अवध में होली के ले रघुबीरा। रामा के हाथे ढोलक बल सोहे, रामा के हाथे ढोलक बल सोहे। लक्ष्मण हाथे मजीरा, ओ लक्ष्मण हाथे मजीरा। अवध में होली के ले रघुबीरा, होली के ले रघुबीरा। अवध में होली के ले रघुबीरा। खेलो रंग हमारे संग आज दिन होलिकाई, खेलो रंग हमारे संग आज दिन होलिकाई। होलिकाई होलिकाई, खेलो रंग हमारे संग आज दिन होलिकाई। कैद रस की राधा बोले, कैद रस की कृष्ण कन्हाई। कैद रस की राधा बोले, कैद रस की कृष्ण कन्हाई। पासद रस की राधा बोले, पासद रस की कृष्ण कन्हाई। खेलो रंग हमारे संग आज दिन होलिकाई, खेलो रंग हमारे संग आज दिन होलिकाई। होलिकाई होलिकाई, खेलो रंग हमारे संग आज दिन होलिकाई।
Again, thank you to Uncle Walter and Auntie Sarani for recording and sending those beautiful bhajans for us to listen to during our regular Sunday morning satsang. Devotees, for anybody else who may have a song they'd like to sing, a speech they'd like to record and send and share with our community members, just as an outreach to let everybody know you're doing okay and send well wishes to others, please let me know. Give me a call, send me a text. We can work on figuring that out together. But let me know. It's very appreciative and it helps me out a lot too when others of you send information out and songs and things to share with our members. So please just let me know. But at this time, devotees, As we continue on, I ask that you go ahead and sit in very relaxed and comfortable position and understand and remember that story of Prahalad. Keep your heart good and keep your mind focused. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, straighten your spine, drop your shoulders, relax. And focus on that form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you. One that brings joy to your heart and one that helps you focus. And join together with me as we chant these closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shanti Bhavatu. Sarvesham Pururam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Om Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardanam Yatya Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Janastu Me Papoham Papu Karma Papu Atma Papu Sambhuatra Himam Putari Paksham Sarva Papu Haro Hari Om Tvameva Makascha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Amrityoma Maritam Yamaya Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Shanti Antariksha Om Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rama Shanti Aushadhe Shanti Vanaspati Shanti Vishwadeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvegvam Shanti Shanti Reva Shanti Sama Shanti Rehi Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat Prem se bolo Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai Prem se bolo Adi Shakti Durga Mata ki Jai Prem se bolo Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai Prem se bolo Navgraha Devata ki Jai Prem se bolo Shiva Shankar Bhagwan ki Jai Prem se bolo Shiva Shakti Mandir ki Jai Prem se bolo Sanatana Dharma ki Jai. Devotees, with this, we've come to the end of our Sunday morning satsang, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here with us. For those of you who are chatting here with us live during our YouTube service, I want to say Jai Sita Ram to Geeta Samlal, Sita Ram to you. Everyone is doing well on our end, at least, and I hope everyone is doing well on your end too. And to Sister Priya Kumar, Jai Sita Ram to you, to Brother Tony and the two children as well. We hope you all are having a fantastic week and staying safe out there. Some announcements from our president and for myself as well is prayers for all of those at Noonan who suffered from the early morning tornado and storm on Friday morning. There was extensive damage to a lot of people's homes, a lot of people's lives, and there was a loss of one life. Storms will do that. We've got to be prepared, but at the same time, for those who are in need, for those who need help, please reach out to them, check on them, see if they're doing okay. My godbrother Tyler Patrick actually texted me, a person who lives up nowhere near that area, to see how we were doing and to see how my parents were doing. And I felt bad because, I didn't bother to send them a text to check on them, but luckily Tyler, his parents, the family are doing well. Very minimal damage from what I understand to their home. And to my mother and father who slept through the storm, no damage to their house. We're glad that you're all safe, but reach out to those folks and we will keep you in our thoughts and our prayers and try to help you out as best as we can. Separate to that, to all of you, again, happy Holi, happy Pagwa to every single one of you. It hurts my heart so much that we can't be together to celebrate together. It's one of those holidays where I just love singing chowtals with the group. Well, I don't really sing. I just kind of sit there and I enjoy it. And playing Holi and Pagwa with everybody outside. You all can still do so at home. Do so with your loved one and your family members. Serena and I will be doing with our little puppy Bella later on today. Once the storm passes, there should be a storm. It should rain till about 1 o'clock today over on our side, which is the northern end of Atlanta, and then that storm should pass. So celebrate with your family. Have a great day. Try to keep things clean. Be careful if you're using powders that stain. They do stain on your face. Recommendation, grab a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Get it right off. As well as other celebrations, this week we had a few birthdays. So to Uncle Andan, who celebrated his birthday yesterday, very happy birthday to you. I saw that your daughters posted and said, oh no, second COVID birthday, but you were surrounded by the ones that you loved. You were having a wonderful time. I could see it in your face just to have your daughters around, to be there with your wife, Auntie Sharda. So very happy birthday to you. And to a very special couple, to Brother Ramesh and Sister Shireen, a very, very happy anniversary. Yesterday they celebrated their 22nd wedding anniversary. anniversary. And I can tell now that they are a very strong couple, and they're just as much love now as they were when they decided to join in union 22 years ago. So to both of you, very, very happy anniversary. Again, devotees, have a wonderful week. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Go ahead and go buy your Claritin, buy your Zyrtec, because Pugwa isn't over, because all of that pollen is coming for us. So maintain vigilance, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. And the last announcement that I have before we end today is that we will not be having virtual Sunday morning satsang next week. I will be traveling and out of town, so next Sunday we will not have virtual service. We will not, but we will resume back in the second weekend of April. So remember, next week, no virtual service. Weekend after, we will continue back with our virtual service. But you all have a safe, happy 2 weeks, and I will see you then. Jai Sita Ram, everybody.